Well, hello. So there's actually nothing in here, but in the spirit of autumn, I thought we could turn this into sort of autumn type of casual video where we just do a bit of autumn baking, autumn decorating. My aunt and uncle and grandma are also coming to visit this weekend, and it'll also be the first time that my grandma comes to see the place. So I do want to make sure that the apartment is relatively tidy and presentable. And I've also been promising my boyfriend for months and months that I will make him some homemade granola or some kind of homemade cereal. So I think that is the first thing that I will start with today. An old tea box from Nescafe. We're going for ginger tea. These mugs also mean quite a bit to me because they're the first mugs that my boyfriend and I got when we moved into our first apartment together. As he has the blue one and I have the orange one. Welcome to the mess that is this area. Now, first thing I always recommend is if you have someone visiting and you know that you want to ask them a certain question about maybe some sort of expertise that they have, well, my grandma and aunt pretty much know how to do every sort of household thing, so I will ask my aunt this weekend how to polish silver, as I have no idea what tools you need for that. And next thing, a bit of tidying. And by the way, hopefully a few words of quick encouragement is that if you've had a task or a skill that you've been meaning to try to learn for maybe months and months or perhaps even years, as I've had this with a sewing machine, is that really just stop waiting on it and pull that thing out and just at least turn it on and give it a go. And if you figure that you have some problems, well, then you can always ask a friend, or I'm sure that there are 1,000 videos online out there that can teach you a thing or two on how to fix that problem that you're facing. First things first, a bit of a random thing. So if I see some sort of organizational storage problem, then I'll always try to first use whatever we have in hand and then try to eventually buy something better, or if it works good enough for the time being, then I can just keep it. So these things kept getting tangled, so now I've cleaned up this old macaron box, and I think I want to place this container into this Tupperware. And now I can color code all of them, so green's in one box, pink's in the other. Alright, done. I actually just had to end up still using this box as the green Tupperware was too small. Alright, now I know it's not the best placement, but I will just put them in the corner here. And then this is trash, and then all the other clothing testing pieces. I will also just quickly hide here. Alright, now onto a few quick computer tasks. Now if you ever have a couple random tasks that you've been meaning to do for really weeks and weeks, but they never really feel like a priority, or they feel like they're going to take too long and you don't have time for them, then I've been doing this for a couple months now and it's worked so well. It's just to really break that task down into smaller bite-sized goals for every day. So for example, if you want to sort through some pictures from a holiday, then instead of trying to go through the entire album in just a couple of days, then I always like to then break it down into smaller tasks of saying, just go through 5 pictures from that album. And each day after deleting those 5 pictures, it ends up quickly becoming easier and easier because by each day you reduce the amount of pictures that you have, so there's less to go through. Alright, I got my coffee, got my lunch ready, and I have the rice cooking, and I have some frozen vegetables that I'm letting defrost for the dinner tonight. I have some broccoli defrosting here and some Brussels sprouts. Did you know that it's actually Brussels sprouts, not Brussels sprouts? And then afterwards I will make the granola. Now in spirit of trying to make it more autumnal, little autumn related. I'll be adding in some dried apricots. Now I'm using the same recipe that I used a couple months ago, but I'm switching out a few things. For example, adding in the dried apricots instead of dried apples, and I'm going to try to double or even triple the recipe. And I'll also be adding a lot of ginger powder and cinnamon, nutmeg, etc. to make it even more sort of autumnal. And this one also calls for applesauce. 300 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius is 150. I'll just put it at 160. Okay, 3.5 cups of oats, so let's make that 7 cups. Scissors again.
There's 3 windows in the top that they're moving parts, they're probably make about 4 posts pages.
So 1/4 times 4, I'm pretty sure is 1 cup. Generously adding everything in except for the salt. Tiny bit of Chinese spice. Does anyone remember the days of the cinnamon challenge? And if you've been so crazy to try it. Okay, and it's 3/4 cups of applesauce, so times 4, that'll be 3 cups.
There's cracks in the adding fibre to the concrete.
I have just a bit of coconut oil left in here, so I'm adding in some boiling hot water to help melt it. Okay, now I'm just gonna mix up the wet ingredients and then mix the wet with the dry ingredients. Probably should have put this on from the start. Okay, that seems pretty well incorporated. Now I'm going to take the trays out, add in some baking paper, and then these can go in the oven. Alright, first tray ready to go in the oven. Now you're also not supposed to overcrowd them, and you're supposed to stir them every 10 minutes, so.
Pour a sponge, and the recipe for 8 ounces of milk cream.
Alright, time to take the first batch out and give a bit of a stir. Okay, the first batch is almost done. I'll probably have to repeat this a couple of times as I still have this much left in there. But the more there is in one go, the better. And it's good that I've now tried increasing the recipe, as now for next time I know exactly what to get. So for example, I'll just get 1 of these jars, 2 of those bags of oats, and all the other ingredients. Okay, now time to add in the last few ingredients. By the way, if you ever try making some homemade granola and you think that's not getting crunchy enough, well, there are several different factors that can influence that. For example, perhaps you added too much liquid or too little liquid, and also it will continue to harden a bit more or to continue to crunch up a bit more outside the oven as it cools down as well. Dinner's practically ready. I'll leave those in for another 10 minutes. But last thing that I want to do for today is moving on to folding some laundry. Okay, folding is done. This needs to go downstairs and this needs to go into the linen area. Okay, voila. I think the first batch is done. Now, ideally I would let this cool off on that rack itself or maybe in a deep shallow bowl, but I don't have one of those, so just gonna use this wooden bowl here, as you don't want to put hot stuff into plastic. So I gave myself a challenge at the beginning of the year to try to do one sketch a day. And here I am doing that. Although I still suck at drawing straight lines and not making them look like a wobbly mess. Okay, don't want to spend too much time on it, so ta-da, first try. And it's nice that dinner is already ready, so all I have to do is just heat it up later on. Alright, it's the next day, so last night I finished making all the batches and I left them outside to cool off on the balcony as it was much cooler there. But I did have to come back down at 11 PM at night when they were finally cool enough to put into these containers, but that's okay, now they're at least finally done. And I was watching an episode of Vampire Diaries, and if you are on season 7 or 8, don't you think it sucks without Elena Gilbert? And now to each batch that I'm going to mix up, I'm going to add in some coconut shreds, coconut flakes, a few goji berries, and a nuts and seeds mix, which has, I made this a while ago, it has some Brazil nuts, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, almonds, chia seeds, flax seeds, the whole shebang. Alright, that's all done, and now time to stir. Okay, now the hard part will be fitting them into these cereal containers. I got some cereal containers from OXO, as these were one of the best ones that I researched, and I got the 3.2 liter one, and it's quite a good size for a normal bag of cereals. And it's also super airtight. It's also quite easy to use one-handed as well. And it's also not too difficult to clean, but you just have to remove this gasket thing, which there's a little lip attachment at the bottom there that you can kind of pull off, and then you can take the whole gasket rubber band thing off. For the top lid part, just make sure that it's fully dry before putting it back on the cereal container. Okay, that just fits. And see it picking up from the lid? And that's staying put, so good container there. Alright, first one done.
That's his choice. It's not supposed to be.
Alright, so now last thing, I'm going to use these two glass jars to give one to my aunt and uncle and grandma for when they come to visit this weekend, as a nice sort of mini gift. Okay, voila, that's pretty nice. Alright, and done. So I have two 3.2 liter cereal containers, this one and this here as well. And then these two jars to give to them later on. Now I can do all the dishes, put all this away, and this is finally done, and now on to the next task of the day. Alright, it's a few days later and I want to do a couple of things today to get ready for this weekend. So I want to do a bit of tidying up. I have some quick kitchen tasks to do, such as refilling these containers. Also, if you have something like an open package of crackers, or you're going to open one, then I recommend taking the extra 1 to 2 minutes to just instantly refill it and not just leave it, you know, open like so, back into the cupboard. First task done. Now also, if you have any crumbs left, you actually don't want to pour those down the sink and you want to pour them down into the trash bin. And now quickly the last two things. Alright, perfect. Alright, next task, a bit of cleaning. Now this space is not bad again. Love my Kobo. Okay, I might do a bit of vacuuming tomorrow, so I won't bother too much with the cleaning up, and it already looks relatively tidy.
Look at the other rooms. When we arrived at the chateau very quickly, and our architect said to us, this monument the original 18th century, everything to do with fireplaces.
Alright, done. Not the exact same as it is in the picture, actually far from it. For anyone that is an artiste, how do you get it to look less blotchy? Do you just have to go over it several more times, or maybe the pencils weren't sharp enough? But first time just trying something else on the sketchbook. But now I want to clean the coffee machine because I usually do that on a Friday.
Was the kicker who missed the field goal?
Rashad Turkington.
Gary.
And now I'm gonna bring this all to my boyfriend. Alright, it's next day. So yesterday I went grocery shopping and I picked up some chocolates for my aunt and grandma, as it was both of their birthdays recently. And so today is just a bit of a cleaning up day, so I have to do some vacuuming, change the bed sheets, and usually those are my Sunday tasks, but since they're coming tomorrow, I'll just do them today. So let's get on with it. I always like to make sure the buttons are closed again before putting in the washing machine. And the bedroom is finally vacuumed. This is always the worst room to vacuum. Alright, the vacuuming is almost done. I just have the stairs and the coat room left to do. Now, also a quick tip, if you don't have time to vacuum your entire house, then just focus on tidying or vacuuming the first rooms that they'll see. So for example, the hallway, the stairs, and perhaps your living room. Alright, so it's the next day and I'm glad that most of the big cleaning tasks such as the vacuuming were all done yesterday. So right now it's just about doing those last minute tasks. I want to do a bit of a quick tidy up. I want to go for a walk soon as it's quite nice weather. And then my boyfriend will soon also go pick up some pastries and cake from a bakery nearby. Right, so I'm going to go for a quick walk now and then I'll get changed afterwards. Well, it's the next day and it was great to have the family visit, and I got some very useful tips on how to do things such as polishing the silver again, fixing the broken light, fixing the door handle upstairs, so I'm hoping that I can get through all of them as soon as possible. It was also my intention to do a tiny bit of redecorating around the apartment, but I just didn't have time for that, and I didn't really have any autumn decor items really to begin with, but I did get some beautiful autumn colored flowers from my grandma, so that counts for something. And well, I hope you enjoyed seeing the process of doing a few autumn related tasks here and there, planning for my family's visit, and other related tasks in between. And so, I want to thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.